Oh, so if you're just trying to get it to run that 1 yard and then up the hill. Just try and knock one in for you. Nearly.
This is the shot that obviously the pros are looking to hole, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they certainly don't want to feel they're going to ever drop a shot from this position. They're only 80 feet from the hole. And with a bit of luck, we'll get one in. There we go.
Very good.
This is part of the game that a lot of amateurs are very scared of. David, let's get you in here and explain the technique of bunker play.
Well, you certainly made those look easy, Nick, and we'll see if we can do that for the viewers. First of all, I think it's probably a good idea to describe the sand wedge there, because many golfers, you know, think they can get away with a poor sand wedge, but you find most of the pros are very particular about the club that they use.
I think the importance is getting the right amount of bounce. You know, this is how measured how the bottom of the leading edge is below, sorry, the bottom of the back edge is below the leading edge. And this, of course, when you strike the sand, enables you to hit down on the ball, and then the club will lift itself out of the sand for you. You don't want anything that's too sharp where the club just keeps going down.
Right. Yes, I think it's important to understand the fact that this is really the only shot in golf you don't actually have to hit the ball. The ball is riding out on the sand.
You use the sand as a buffer, and that's how we get our spin.
Right, and it's really not as scary as most people make it out to be.
Right now.
Well, let's set up to it here. Certainly, the first thing you're going to do is set yourself a little bit open. You can see the way Nick sets up there. He's got his feet, his knees, and his hips and his shoulders aimed probably about 30 degrees left of the flag for this length shot, which is probably about 40 feet. He's placing the ball just forward in his stance there.
There we go. Draw a line.
There we go. And I'll just draw a line in this direction so you can see where the ball is positioned in relation to his feet and how open he is standing. Now, the important thing in setting up to the ball is to grip the club correctly. When Nick grips the club there, you'll notice, first of all, the face is open, but he actually opens the face and then grips it. It's very important that you must not, under any circumstance, just open the club face, otherwise it'll return closed. So the club face has to be opened initially, and then the hands placed on the club. Okay. So the club face is set slightly open. In fact, the club face almost looks slightly to the right of the target, of the flag. Now, Nick's feet are just approximately a little narrower than his shoulders. Now, as he swings the club back, we've assumed he's buried his feet in for good balance. Yep. As he swings the club back, you can see the wrists do hinge, and he is not attempting to swing the club outside here. He's swinging the club on the line of his body. Now, we'll notice as he swings the club back, the wrists have hinged fully, and he's in a position where he can now simply allow his hands and arms to release through the ball there. So he's going to look a couple of inches behind the ball there, keeping his eyes focused on that spot rather than the ball. And we'll see the full flowing motion of his swing here.
Yeah, it's important that we keep the extension. So many amateurs hit down and expect just the explosion to send it out. We're not trying to hit a lot of sand. I'm trying to enter a couple of 2 inches behind the ball and come out probably 2 or 3 inches. So I certainly don't want to go deeper than that.
You'll notice too, when Nick plays this shot, how well he stays down. The flex in his knees stays very, very constant. So we do not want to stand up on the shot at all through the ball, otherwise this is where the blade shots come from. So Nick can get fairly aggressive with this shot as well, but as long as he makes contact with the sand and keeps the club accelerating through, he is certainly not going to hit the ball too far.
I also find that keeping your base still, if you use too much leg action, if you try to help the ball out with too much leg action, you know, you've moved your center forward, and that's going to cause you to thin it. So keep that right knee firm in that one position, and really just use your hands to pull the club through the ball. There we go. After the relative straightforward bunker shot, we now have a variety of lies to show you. And we start off with the uphill lie, where the problem we have faced here is really we have a wall of sand in front of us. So number one rule is we're going to have to hit the ball a lot harder. We won't need quite so much an open face because the ball is already on the upslope, so we're not going to have too much problem in getting the ball up. And really, we don't want to hit too far behind it either, because we're going to have to take a lot of sand and we're going to have to pull through the shot and be very aggressive on this one. So let's see how we can play this. Same setup and everything, a little bit squarer on my club face, and the club is going to be entering the sand on a sort of a level basis. I'm not going to try and help it up at all. I've got to hit into the sand and blast a lot of sand away and send the ball up. Just to repeat this shot once more, remember I've got this wall of sand in front of me. I don't need to release the club at all. I can hit it in quite firm, holding this left wrist solid. Okay, I'm now in the back of the bunker on a downslope, as you can see, a very different problem to the upslope that we faced before. This time, as you can see, I've got to try and get my body into the same angle as the lie. So I have to get myself well forward and my shoulders down a little bit, because what I'm trying to do is chase the club through after the ball, keeping it down. If I'm back on the same normal level, as you can see, the club will enter right in the back of the ball and you'll probably thin it out. Again, the ball is rather going to come out a lot lower and run. As we saw with the uphill shot, that comes out a lot higher and will always stop. So again, I'm opening myself up. The club face is on target, and I want to pick it up a little bit more this time, because invariably you're going to have the back bank in front of you. So pick him up and go through. Keep your head down all the time, and let's follow through after this one. Stay up there, ball. The amateur's nightmare. The plug lie. Now, it really isn't as difficult as you think. And with a lot of amateurs I've watched playing, you certainly don't have to go in there as if you're trying to kill snakes. Really, all you need to do is have a short, sharp thump through the sand, and on this occasion, you don't need to follow through. What we're trying to do, depending on the length of the shot, on a shorter one, we can have the club face open, and all we're trying to do is have a nice thump going down through the sand. And as you can see, I'm just trying to keep down and just remove that sand from in front of me. The stance is very similar. Just a little bit more weight on the left foot. We can set the club a little bit more on the backswing because we're trying to get down steep into the ball. Again, we go in probably 2 inches behind and then down and through. And you stay there. If you keep your eyes there, don't lift up, trying to help it up in any way. Just stay down and pop it out. From this plug lie again, if I require to make the ball run further, imagine it's going to go past the pin this time, all I simply have to do is from that original club face position is just to close it a little bit, back to square in fact. And again, it's the same downward stroke and popping it through, and it should run a lot further. We've covered the real basics of chipping and bunker shots. As you can imagine, there are hundreds. The variation is enormous. Let me show you how I practice. Now, wherever they lie, let's go and play them. An easy one at last.